Hello. I'm literally filming this at 11 o'clock at night, the night before I post this episode. But that's life. But hi, I missed being on here. I'm more excited than you can imagine to finally be putting out a new episode. It's been a long time coming. I've been waiting on a logo and trying to rebrand. And it took a little bit longer than expected, but I didn't want to post anything without having it all finished, and I didn't want to post just because I was really excited to and I wanted to rush it. I wanted to make sure that things were the way I wanted them to be, and so I'm really excited about having a new logo and some new artwork. I'm gonna be doing a giveaway very, very soon, so go to my Instagram at @alittlecoffee_break for information. I'm not sure when I will post it. It'll most likely be 2, tops 3 weeks from now. Just trying to get everything in order and making sure I have everything put together. I'm actually really excited about this giveaway. And so yeah, stay tuned for that. And today I have a very, very special guest. Her name is Sara, and she is a wedding coordinator. She actually has her own business, and I will be linking all of that and shouting her out in the show notes and on my Instagram. And so please go check her out. She's incredible and she's so sweet, and I feel like we had an instant connection, and so I'm really excited for you guys to get to know her. And I had a lot of fun, and I can finally show it to you guys. And I'm so excited. Love y'all. Bye. Welcome back. Done this and okay, there we go.
Oh my gosh, you're good. I see you better now.
Okay, great. So your fiance streams.
Yeah, he's a Twitch streamer. He's actually in the other room right now.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, but I bought this microphone a while ago because I thought I was going to start a podcast, and maybe someday I will. But I let him borrow it because right now I'm not using it for anything. And then I was like, well, when I record this podcast with Erica, I'll just go to your house because you've got everything else I need. So
yes. Oh my God. So what's his Twitch name? Is that the right verbiage? I don't even know.
I think so.
Okay.
It's Da Gooseberry. He probably hears me right now and he's really happy that I'm shouting him out.
Yes.
Da Gooseberry is what he told me to say.
Can you say it one more time?
Da Gooseberry.
Okay, Da Gooseberry. Okay, yes. My husband, well, he plays video games, but he also likes to watch.
Oh my gosh. Same. Yeah. Okay. Well, then they need to link up.
Yes. I'll have him check out his stuff for sure. For sure.
Oh yeah. He would love that too.
It's so nice to meet you.
I know, me too.
Thanks for being willing to be interviewed by a stranger.
Oh my gosh. Of course. And I know Juan and Rebecca really well. So when you told me that they did your wedding, which Rebecca's doing my wedding. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So she's my photographer.
They're incredible. Did she tell you how we met?
No, she didn't. How'd y'all meet?
On Instagram.
Oh my gosh.
Because I was getting married, and my sister's a photographer. I dabble in photography. So I have a very specific, I'm very picky, as you probably are too.
Yeah.
I wanted a specific look, and I think I just searched up some sort of hashtag.
Yeah.
And she came up.
Oh my gosh.
And out of all of them, because I went through so many.
Yeah.
But out of all of them, they were the ones that I was like, yes, this is it. I
They're
want
amazing.
them. I hope they're in my price range. And I got them right before they really blew up, because I feel like they've been blowing up.
But, they have. Yeah. They're
incredible.
Amazing.
It's rightfully so. They're incredible.
Right.
But I got them literally, we were so poor. So I was like, I don't even know what we're going to be able to afford. And their price was literally our budget.
Yeah.
And she did our wedding, and literally they just became our friends. They're just so incredible. And
they're so great.
They're the best.
I know. I love them. Yeah. Okay. I've actually booked like 2 brides that found me on an Instagram hashtag.
Yeah,
So
they
it's
work.
powerful. It works so well.
Yes, and I was so grateful I found you because I had literally so I'm okay, so I have so many questions for you because
I'm ready. I'm
I
here for it.
I'm also starting to coordinate weddings.
Oh my gosh. I love
And
that.
I might want to make it a business. I don't know
Yeah.
yet, but I have
Yeah.
one and it's out of state. It's in Tennessee and I'm so excited.
Where
Um,
in Tennessee?
it's near Knoxville, I think.
Oh yeah.
Um,
So my sister's lives in Knoxville. So I
okay.
go there all the time. That area is beautiful.
It's beautiful. And the
Mhm.
place, I don't remember what it's called. They
Oh
had
my
some
gosh.
weird
I
name,
just dropped this.
but it's a beautiful
Mhm.
venue. Oh my gosh. So I'm scared.
That area
But
is.
it's my first out of state one. I've only
Oh my
have
gosh.
well, by the time I do her wedding, I'll have 2 weddings under my belt.
Mhm. Yeah.
But
Oh my gosh. That's awesome.
it's crazy, and
Yeah.
I love the whole wedding thing though, the whole wedding
Yeah.
business.
Oh, it's
So
so
I
fun. I
just
could
like
talk
have
about it for
questions.
forever.
Yeah, I hopefully I learned something today because I'm so scared. It'll be my first time. Well,
Oh
actually
my
in
gosh.
May I have one in Conroe. It'll be my first time doing it alone. So
Oh,
I'm
so
like,
fun. Oh my gosh.
yeah, I'm so excited, but
You're
also
gonna kill
scared.
it. You're gonna do so good.
Thank you. Thank you.
It's gonna be
So
great.
I might have some questions with you either
Yeah.
while we're talking or
I love it.
afterwards because there's a lot I feel like to learn. And so I'm so glad I found you because I've been wanting so here's why I asked you to be
Yeah.
on the
Okay.
podcast. I obviously you get to a certain age where
Mhm.
all of your friends start getting married
Mhm.
and
Yep.
as a former bride, I hear the things that they're struggling with, and
Mhm.
I'm always giving unsolicited advice, just like
Yeah.
this is not what you need. That actually doesn't matter, but this matters, and like all
Right.
these things.
Yes.
And so, I really would love for people to have a resource
Yeah.
where they can just kind of go back. I know there's YouTube videos, but actually I've been like researching YouTube videos and there's only like one girl who is pretty famous who like does things about
Mhm.
weddings and
Yeah.
gives advice. I don't know if you've seen her.
I haven't, but I've literally like once I move in here in
Yeah.
October, like me and Adam have already talked about it. I'm starting a YouTube channel, like
Do it.
100%.
There's
Because I feel like there's nothing like
no,
like
there's
that.
nothing, which is
Mhm.
okay. So this is a great plug for your future YouTube channel.
Yes, I'm ready.
I think you should because there's not a lot of resources out there. And I think it'd be fun for brides or future brides to know
Mhm.
what they need at their wedding, what they don't, what's important, what their guests would want, if that's what their priority
Mhm.
is. And so I'm so excited. So thank you for doing
Oh my
this.
gosh, of course. I'm so excited for this. I
Yes.
I could talk for like days. So if like you ever need someone to be on a podcast, I'm like, yes, let me talk. Let me talk. Like
Yes.
I want to
Oh
do
my gosh. Well, I'm so
it.
excited for your YouTube channel
Yeah.
because
Someday.
yes, you will. Once you move in, yes, girl. You already
I'll
have
get
the
this
whole
set
setup.
up.
You have the box lights.
I know everything.
So tell me about yourself. Introduce yourself.
Yeah.
Yes. What do you do? Obviously, we've talked about kind of what you do.
Yeah.
But yeah, tell me about you and how you got to where you are now.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. So kind of a crazy story, but I won't give all the details because it'd take 10 years to tell. But so my name is Sara. I am now a self-employed wedding planner and coordinator. So when I first got into the actual like wedding industry in Austin was in college. So back in like 2016, I started working for well, I guess not 2016, but around that time is when I started getting interested in actually doing like wedding photography and videography because I was majoring in film and that was
Nice.
like the specification of mass comm that I was in was film and
Okay.
theater. And so I was like, let me just like dabble in the film part of weddings. And at the time that was becoming a bigger and bigger thing. And now I tell all of my couples, I'm like, you need video at your wedding.
I'm so sad we
Mm.
couldn't afford it. And
Oh
I think
yeah.
about it at least once a week.
I no, and you know what? It only very recently became like a huge thing that people like will now set aside money for, but it wasn't like that like within just a few years ago.
Yeah.
But that's what I started out in, and so I worked for a videography photography company in Round Rock, so in the Austin area.
Okay.
And it was awesome. That's like where I actually started falling in love with the wedding industry, but I also loved the creative side of it. And so I worked for them for a little over a year, but in college as well. So then I graduated and I started working for them like more full time. But just the way things turned out, it didn't work out. And I moved back home, worked there for a little bit. I was just like in retail management, but always wanted to come back to Austin. So I did. And I started working and I coordinated weddings for Texas Pro DJ, which is a really awesome like DJ entertainment company in Austin.
Nice.
Shameless plug. They're the best. I love them so much. They're doing my own wedding. They're
That's
amazing.
great.
Yeah. So Jammin and Miles, they kind of run the business. And so I learned a whole lot about just like not only weddings, but events, and then also coordinating them, because one thing that's super, super true in any wedding is that the DJ or band, the photographer, and then the wedding planner or coordinator, they're the ones that need to know the timeline like the back of your hand. Like they need to know it better than anyone. And so when I was at this DJ company is when I really started understanding like a wedding timeline.
Yes.
Along with the experience that I had being a photographer, videographer. And then after that, I just felt like I needed to do more of like the planning coordination side of weddings rather than just work for an entertainment company. So I reached out to a venue in Austin, worked for them until COVID just got so bad. I couldn't support myself on just a few weddings a year, which is what it was looking like. So I had been thinking for like 2 years how I wanted to be self-employed, how I wanted to like be my own boss, but I really wasn't sure how. I just knew I wanted it to be wedding related. But over the last like 2 years or so, I realized how much I'm such an extroverted and like fun loving, silly person, but I'm also very type A with certain things. And that's when it kind of clicked with me this like last year, all of 2020, like, okay, I really do want to be a wedding planner. I want to like coordinate weddings. That's what I love. Like that's what brings me so much joy, is doing that. And so, as the Lord would have it, at the end of the year, I was working retail very like just on the side. And I was like, okay, well, I'm going to do it. And so I put in my like notice to be like demoted to a very part-time brand rep where I work. And then in January, I started Deletta Elaine Weddings and rebranded my photography page to like wedding planning and coordination. So
What? That's
early
awesome.
January is since like my company's been a thing, but I've been coordinating weddings for a little bit longer than that, for about a year and a half longer than that. But my company is like as old as January, so only a couple months old. But yeah, so that's kind of like
That's incredible. I actually didn't know that. I just found you. I mean, it did look like it was fairly new, but it was so professional, and
Thank
obviously
you.
know what you're doing. So that's really cool. And
Thank you.
I hear that you are an Enneagram 3.
Yes.
Tell us about that. How did you find out? This is okay. Obviously you probably saw that I did a whole series on the Enneagram.
I love it.
I'm obsessed. But tell us about that, how you learned you were an Enneagram 3, what your feelings were. I want to know it all.
Oh my gosh.
I'm excited.
I love it. No, I found out what type I am probably just like 2 or so years ago, but my friend was really into it. And then I took the test, and I used to be really into the Myers-Briggs, but I still am. I literally like pulled it up on Google because it's been so long, but I am an ENFP on the Myers-Briggs. So the campaigner. What?
I used to be an ENFP.
Oh, really? Are you different now?
I don't know. I haven't taken it. I feel like maybe it's changed, but I remember that a few years ago I was an ENFP. But every time I take that test like maybe every 3 years.
Right.
And it's always different. But yeah, I need to take it again.
Enneagram's more my thing.
Yes, yes.
Well, because of that, it got me introduced into like the Enneagram, and I had always like heard of it, but I wasn't like into it like I thought I would be. So I took the test and I was definitely a 3. However, I had a very, very high 7, which makes complete sense if you know me. And those two things are like kind of different. But I've taken the test before and I have gotten a 7, but they're always within a few like percentages of each other. But what I've realized is in my like career, I'm definitely a 3. And then in my like fun and outside of work, I am, and like friends and family, I'm definitely a 7. So it's a good mix. I'm really glad. It's kind of like, I think I would say in the past caused some issues with like me trying to figure out what career I wanted, but now I'm like, okay, this is great. Now I can kind of balance them both. But I'm definitely a 3 in like me being a business owner and just like running a wedding is totally a 3. That's where it shines. So I'm like an over communicator with everything, and it's probably super annoying, but I'm like, no, you need to know. And I'm like, wait, I add way too many explanation marks and everything. So
Yes. Okay, well, we are on the topic of weddings today, and I'm
yes.
just so pumped for this. Like I said, there are so many brides who you're probably listening to this right now as a bride or future bride, and you're thinking, I'm planning my wedding and I don't know where to start. I got engaged 5 minutes ago and I'm already freaking out. And so I this is why I have Sarah on, and I'm so just excited for to hear her out and what her thoughts are on all of this. But we have some great questions to dive into. So Sarah, if a bride is listening to this right now and again got engaged 5 minutes ago and doesn't know what's happening,
Oh, yeah.
where would you advise them to start or begin in the planning process? Which this is the big question, because you get engaged and then somebody hands you this, maybe a friend hands you this big book of things and you just don't even know where to start. Or maybe it's a metaphorical big book of things and you just don't know where to start. So where would you tell them to start?
I love that question because I feel like it's so different, or there's, okay, not so different, but there's 2 kind of routes I would recommend going in if you just got engaged. So there's route A, where you are the bride that knows what she wants. She's got that Pinterest board like already ready to go. She knows the type of vendors she wants. She knows she wants a moody photographer over like a light and airy one. She knows she wants a venue with, with a chapel rather than one big building. She knows what she wants, but she doesn't know who to book necessarily. I would say that's the bride that doesn't need to book a planner right away. What you should do is book your venue first. So that's with the bride that knows what she wants. She knows where she's going. Soon after you book your venue, that's whenever I would book your coordinator or planner. So that's route A, which I'll go into a little bit more in a second. But route B would be the bride that has no idea what she wants. She doesn't know what color scheme she wants. She doesn't know the difference between a moody and a light photographer. She doesn't know she wants videography. She doesn't know anything. She doesn't even know what, town she's going to get married in. That's where I would stop what you're doing. Don't freak out. Call your planner. Hopefully it's me. And then you would start planning. That's where the process would come from, or would begin from, would be from your planner's perspective, because the last thing you want to do is be overwhelmed with all of these different options, because especially in Texas, you're going to have like thousands and thousands of options for wedding vendors and a lot of really wonderful wedding vendors, which makes it that much more difficult. And a lot of times you have a budget too. So that's where a wedding planner would come in. And I might be biased, but I think that's the first thing you should book if you don't know where to begin with anything. And then going back to that, first group, that A group, that's where I would say getting a coordinator over maybe a planner. If you already know who you're going to book, you have this idea of everything. But your coordinator also, a lot of times, at least for me, and a lot of coordinators I've talked to, friends that I have, they're also there to kind of guide you in the right direction. So maybe they're not actually planning your wedding, but I have a lot of brides that have me booked as their day of coordinator, but they'll just like reach out to me and they're like, hey, like, do you have any officiant recommendations? And I'll be like, oh my gosh, yeah, girl, like, here's a few that I've worked with that I love. So it's not necessarily like I'd be planning the wedding, but I do have like some recommendations of vendors that I've worked with personally. And especially if their coordinator has worked with them before, or like knows about them, knows them, then they're going to feel more comfortable booking them. But even though they might already know what they want, they're going to want maybe that little like that person holding their hand through it a little bit. So I would say there's 2 different types of couples when it comes to booking a planner or coordinator, which are both pretty different.
That's what I was going to say. Let's dive into the difference between a wedding planner and a wedding coordinator, or a day of coordinator, because there is a difference. And so really what you're looking at, and then you can, I'm going to say what I think, and then you can tell me what you can add or say. Actually, Erica, that's wrong. But the difference between a wedding, so the wedding planner is basically somebody, like you said, who's there from you from the beginning. So they are the ones that are doing everything with you when it comes to booking or figuring out your vision for the wedding, all the way up until the wedding, and then day of coordinating. And then your day of coordinator, you're basically, it's somebody, like you said, you know what you kind of want, but you need direction and guidance. Then this person will probably have 5 meetings with you, something like that, before the wedding, the most, I'm thinking, just from my research that I've done, before the wedding. That's just to kind of and be available as a reference for something. But we'll definitely go over your day of schedule with you and make sure that that day goes smoothly. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's like a really good like roundabout way to look at it. I think that even though most couples do know the difference between a planner and a coordinator, they don't maybe know all the little details. Like, I mean, you kind of just went over it, but like a planner is that person that's literally going to plan your wedding for you. For example, I had a couple reach out to me who I just adore, and they're getting married in October. They live out of state. And so they booked me as a planner because they're not super familiar with the Austin area. They have an idea of like what they want, but they need like me to do that research for them because I'm familiar. I'm really familiar with the area, right? So them living in another state, they aren't familiar with it, and they're not even from Austin. So they booked me as their planner, and I'm working with them. I meet with them about once a week just to go over more like vendors that we've gotten quotes from and kind of see where they are in the budget. And then, most of my clients are day of coordination packages, which means about 6 months before the wedding, we'll get together. A lot of coordinators do meet with their clients just about a month or two before the wedding, but I like to do it way earlier than that because I was just telling a bride this today, but I really like to meet about 6 months earlier at the like latest, because I like to get to know who your vendors who you already have booked are, let them know who I am, because from that point on, I'm their middleman with you guys. If there's anything they need to update on the timeline, they reach out to me rather than you guys, because my biggest job is to make sure you're not stressed on the wedding day. And I'm kind of getting into more than just the difference of a planner and coordinator, but that's the
Well, this
biggest
can kind of
difference.
go into that. Why is it
Yeah.
important? Why is it important? You can even start talking about that. Like, why is it
Yeah.
important to have that person there on
Yeah.
your wedding
So
day?
that's such a good question. I love it because the biggest way I can describe it is you want someone who's going to be on your side, who's in your court. They're going to be your hype person, your best friend in the whole like wedding process, because it is really stressful. And I was telling Erica this earlier, but I'm also a bride myself, and I consider myself like someone who knows a lot about the industry, but when it's your wedding, it is really stressful because it's such an emotional experience. I was talking to a realtor friend a bit ago, and we were both like, yeah, I feel like we can relate to each other because both our jobs entail working with people who are doing something that means so much to them. And it's such a big expense that means so much to them. It's so emotional. And that's exactly what a wedding is. So you want someone who also is going to be able to relieve some of that stress, take some of that stress off your shoulders, and be your go-to person for absolutely everything. I have brides text me all the time who are like, hey, like, I'm just like freaking out because this, and this. And I'm like, hey, well, like, have you thought about doing it this way? Like, let's see our options. And so you really are needing a coordinator or planner for someone you can rely on all the time. And granted, like we have lives outside of weddings, but that's why like it's important for me to become really good friends with my clients, because when they text me at 7:00 in the evening, I want to be like, oh my gosh, let's talk about your wedding. I'm so excited. Like, I'm okay with that because I know you and I want this to be just the best day ever for you, because it is such an awesome experience. And my job is to just relieve a lot of that stress that comes with this big job that you're about to do.
Yes, it's so. I love that you said it was so emotional, because it
Hmm.
is so emotional
Yeah.
and it's so personal.
Hmm.
So that's why it's such an any wedding vendor, it's a big deal, but day of coordinator and planner is a
Hmm.
huge deal, because really you're taking charge of this event.
Yeah.
So if anything goes wrong, it's on you. And you're
Right.
just like, okay. And so that's why it's so good to have that relationship with people, because it is
Yeah.
such a personal thing that's happening. It's not
Yes.
just, oh yeah, I'm giving you this service and
Mm-hmm.
you'll get your pictures in 2-3 weeks, or
Right.
yes, I'll bring the food. It's no, I am gonna be
Yeah.
with you.
You know,
And
and it's funny you say that because Rebecca, like I feel like she's so intentional with everything she does
she is.
with her couples. And she's been a photographer for one of my couples in the past, and that's why like I fell in love with them. But
Yes.
she's so intentional and she puts such a like personal touch on everything she does. And that's a huge reason I was drawn to her to like pick as my wedding photographer. And I've seen everything, you know, and I'm like, I
Yes.
need her because she makes it so unique to each couple.
That's so true. That is like in no way to diminish what she does, but yet it is so true, because that's one of the reasons I loved her and booked her as
Yeah.
well, because she
We're
was so
giving her a
personal.
shameless plug right
Yes.
now.
It's this. I've been giving her a shameless plug since I've met her. I'm just
Oh,
like,
heck
please.
yeah. I always
Um,
refer her to like every bride who's like Moody. I'm like, oh my God, you got to go with Rebecca.
yes, literally. But yeah, it is. She's very intentional, and I mean, just down from the beginning, that initial meeting or Zoom meeting, and it's
Mhm.
so. I mean, you definitely want to pick a vendor that you click with,
Right.
because then it's just it can either turn really messy or awkward, and it's just
Mhm.
you want to make sure that you like your vendors.
Yeah. Oh, so true. Oh my gosh. You need to have a connection with them and not like be able to pick someone. And I know like money is tight for like a lot of people, but just be able to pick someone who knows what they're doing. But with that, they also like know how to relate to you and be your friend. Because one thing me and a lot of just I call them frienders talk about is how
I
you
love
have to
that.
have a very specific personality for this industry. You have to be willing to make friends at every turn because we're all working for the same goal when it comes to a wedding day. And that's to make sure that the couple has the best day of their life and everything goes smoothly. And if it doesn't, how do we hide that and make sure no one else sees and then
Yes.
pull off an awesome wedding day, you
Yes.
know?
Yes. Oh,
Mhm.
yes. I totally get that.
Mhm.
Okay, so you started planning your wedding and things are coming
Mhm.
together and you're making a lot of decisions. Am I gonna have a sign book, like a signing book or a guest book? I can't
Mhm.
think of words today. Okay, am I
A
gonna have a guest book?
welcome table. Yeah.
Welcome table. There we go. I'm gonna have a welcome table. Am I gonna do a unity ceremony? Am I going to do X, Y, and Z? What are the party favors gonna be? Am I gonna have party favors? So there's a lot of decisions that come with little tiny details.
Mhm.
And something that I love that I've seen like on YouTube and things like that is people basic, or even on TikTok, I'll see like videos what you need and don't need at your wedding. And
Mhm.
I just wish more people knew um what is necessary, especially for those that are on a specific budget,
Mhm.
what is necessary to have and maybe what's not necessary, or maybe you're thinking the guests are gonna love your party favor but it's
Mhm.
not necessary, or they don't really care as much, or they'll throw it away. Or so
Right.
basically my question is, what are the most important things brides should make sure they have in their wedding or their wedding process? What's going to be worth the money,
Mhm.
in this, and then and then on the flip side, what's the least important or the money wasters? And so
Right.
this is going to differ from bride to bride, obviously, because
Yeah.
every bride or every couple has a different budget. So
Mhm.
there's somebody who can work with a big budget and they can have all of the things. And there's somebody who says, well, this, I only have $8,000 to $10,000 to spend, which is a
Mhm.
pretty average wedding. And what do I do with this? Like,
Yeah.
how can I steward this well? And so, that would be my question to you. What would you think are
Yeah.
the best things that are worth the money and the worst things that are money wasters?
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Well, I think for me, and this is just in my experience of the weddings that I've done, the industries that I have worked in the wedding world, one of the things I think people should not cheap out on, because I have seen where it goes maybe not as well, and then I've seen where it's literally the best thing ever, is entertainment. And so by that I mean DJ or a band, um, because when you look at the timeline of a wedding day, what's going to be most important is the flow of the night. And, you know, we all know that weddings are pushed back a lot of the time by like a few minutes. If grandma's running late to the ceremony, we're going to have a late ceremony, and that's totally okay. But you're going to need someone like, for example, a DJ who's going to be the MC of the night, who knows how to fix those little minuscule issues and is able to hype everyone up, because you want a hype man or woman big time at your wedding day. And you want that same person to be your MC. So I'm really, really big on having a good MC, someone who's not awkward on the microphone, someone who's able to make transitions between little events in the timeline really seamless. I think that is so important, because if you have someone like that, then the flow of the day, like I said, is going to go that much better. The coordinator is someone who's definitely like behind the scenes, but the DJ or whoever the MC is for the band, they're going to be the one making sure that what the planner or coordinator has made is executed perfectly. And also show their personality, because a lot of the time DJs and bands, their MC usually has a really awesome big personality. So I think that it's super, super important. I think you should not cheap out on that. And luckily, especially in Texas, there's so many, just incredible options for that. There's so many talented people. So it's going to be really hard to find someone who isn't good at that and that hasn't had the experience, because I mean, it's just, to me, that's something that should not be cheaped out on, is just a really good DJ or band. And obviously, like, the music aspect of it's really important. Most of the time when I talk to couples, they come to me and they're like, Sarah, we want a 5-minute ceremony and then we want to party. We want to party the rest of the night. And I go, okay, then you're going to have to listen to me when I say you need a really, really great band or DJ. Usually it's a DJ, although bands are so much fun. I honestly am not biased between each one, because they're both amazing. But I'm like, okay, if you really want this party, you're going to have to go maybe not all out, but you need to invest more of your budget into that. So that's what I would say is the most important.
Yes. Is there also, to kind of put my opinion into, also photographer and videographer? I know we talked about this, but photographers and videographers, talk about that.
Yes. So you literally came to my next point, which was a photographer.
I'm sorry. Okay.
No, I'm glad you said it, because it was a good segue. No, 100% a photographer. And videographer. You want someone, okay. I'm just very passionate about this.
Here's the soapbox. Get on it, girl. Get on it.
Let me just stand up. I'll go back there and just stand and scream. When you look back on your wedding, there's one thing that you're going to see, and that is pictures. That's it. You're not going to see anything else from the wedding day. You're going to see pictures of things from the wedding day or videos of things from the wedding day. And you want someone who is going to be able to capture that the exact way that you imagine it in your head. And hopefully, if you're someone who doesn't know what that looks like, you've worked with your planner to get that idea going. So 100% invest in someone who's going to make sure they know what they're doing. And I know that there's up and coming photographers, but that's why, for me, I second shot for so many weddings before I was able to like lead a wedding as a photographer. And that second shooting at weddings helped me tenfold whenever it became time for me to actually execute this on a wedding day. And so just from that experience, I know how important it is for a photographer. I see some couples that are like, not necessarily mine, but just some that are like, oh, we have a really tight budget. It's like maybe X, Y, and Z amount. And so that's really not the kind of budget that you would see going towards a really, really incredible photographer. And what I would say to that is just like, okay, well, maybe like hire a photographer that is more the style you want, but maybe for less hours. Like, what's the most important time of the day for you? Is it ceremony? Is it dancing? We'll have the photographer for just that amount of time. And it's also, you have to ask the question to yourself, on the wedding day, what's most important to me? Is it the ceremony and the like traditions that we have in it? Great. If that's the case, then make sure you get a videographer to capture the vows and what the officiant's saying. So I think it's different per each couple, with like, of course, budget being an aspect of it. But I would say, if I can just drill it into everyone's head, photographer, videographer, please have a videographer if you can. And then of course, DJ or band, entertainment.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. That's good. Mm-hmm. Is there anything else that you had on your list?
Not for probably like the thing you need to like spend a lot of money on. I would say maybe caterer. I like it whenever you can like have a caterer there that's worked in weddings for a while. They know what they're doing. I always really like that. But obviously like food isn't a big deal for everyone. So I wouldn't say like, oh gosh, that's number one. Caterers are incredible and you're going to find a good one at every turn. Like I've said in the past about other vendors, but, I would say it's not like the most important thing if food isn't the most important thing to you, which often it's not.
Yeah.
But if you have a higher budget, I would say, put that towards photographer, videographer, DJ, band, and then caterer.
Yes.
Mhm.
Awesome. Yes, those are
Yeah.
all great points. I feel that on the whole MC thing with the DJ,
Yeah.
because we did not think that through. It wasn't a disaster at all, but it
Mhm.
was something that had to be very last minute. And I just
Yeah.
didn't think of it. I just wasn't really thinking of it. And I realized, oh, we'll put a playlist, whatever. And
Mhm.
then we're like, oh, wait, we need somebody to like
Announce
talk
y'all
to the
in.
yeah.
And mhm.
Like, oh,
Yeah.
yes, that's
Oh my
important.
gosh. Yeah. And it can be, the wedding day can be absolutely incredible and magical without that. That's just like, from my opinion, that I've seen at some weddings that maybe didn't have it, which it went wonderfully. It's just,
Mhm.
if I could live in a perfect world, it would be that.
Yes, yes, for sure, for sure.
Mhm. Mhm.
Okay, so the flip side,
Yes.
what is something that brides or couples usually spend money on that maybe is not necessary,
Yeah.
or maybe the guests don't even care about it?
Yeah.
To put it quite frankly.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Well, you said this earlier and I was like, oh, I can't wait to talk about that. It's party favors. Y'all knew.
Yes.
Party favors are taken by guests oftentimes, and then they are thrown in the trash when they get home or back to their hotel, which is sad because you spend so much money on it. And if you have the budget, like go for it. That's awesome. Like, please do it. If I've seen some really like unique ideas where maybe like the couple had party favors made that are very reusable, like pins are so simple that something like that. I've seen like maybe the couple made a little like sticker that or magnet that was cute enough to where they could put it on their refrigerator, maybe on their laptop or whatever. It didn't have like a picture of the couple. Maybe it just said something cute on it and then the date in tiny little font. But I would say you don't need to spend a lot of money on party favors. If anything, buy something in bulk. You don't have to personalize it. And again, this is all like relative to someone who has like maybe a smaller budget to work with. If you have that larger budget and that's something that you want, please go for it, because at the end of the day, this is your wedding. This is your wedding. It's not my wedding. It's not Erica's wedding. This is your wedding. And so if you want that, you go for it. And that's what I tell all my couples. If maybe I'm trying to be like, oh, if they're asking my opinion, I'm like, well, I don't know. And they're like, well, but I kind of want it. I'm like, then you do it. You get that. You want it. And so it's like, it's so funny because although I'm there to give advice, I'm not there to tell you what to do. I am give you
That's
advice.
good.
That's my job.
Yes, that's
So.
good. So we did party favors, but
Mhm.
ours was simple,
Yeah.
inexpensive, and usable. So we actually had coffee grounds
Mm,
in bags and said the
I love
perfect
that.
blend, and it had our names on it. It said the perfect blend, and I think the date. And we
That's
actually
so cute.
heard for months after our wedding that they loved the coffee.
Wait, I kind
So
of am gonna steal that maybe.
do it. No, it was so cute. I can send you a
Coffee
picture of what it looked
grounds.
like too. I think like my sister got like bags on Etsy and the personalized bags,
Mhm.
and then they packaged the coffee themselves, and it was like this it was called café de olla. It was like a
Mhm.
Mexican-y type of
Yeah.
cinnamony coffee, and
Mhm.
people loved it. Like we were
Oh, that's
hearing about it
awesome.
afterwards, and it was so simple,
Mhm.
inexpensive, and it was so fun to hear about our guests saying, "Oh, we
Yeah.
love your coffee." It was just so cool. And now every time I drink it, I think of the wedding day,
Oh my gosh, that's so sweet. I love that.
which replaces the. Have you heard the? This is something that I wish I did, and I'm so sad I didn't. I don't know why I didn't think of it, but the whole like getting a specific
Yes,
perfume for
I
your
was
wedding
gonna
day.
say that next. You were like reminding me of it as you said that.
I wish I would have done that, and it makes me feel better that
Mhm.
I had that taste one, the
Right.
taste instead of the since I didn't think of the smell one
Mhm.
of the senses. Now I
Yeah.
can drink that
You
coffee
have
and
the
think about my
taste
wedding
one.
day. Yeah,
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
perfume one is so cool.
It's so cool. No, me and Adam have literally talked about making it a date idea where we go and pick out our perfume and cologne.
Oh, that would be so cool.
So what Erica's saying, I didn't even think of explaining it.
Oh yeah,
It's
we're just
we're
sorry.
just like, oh, they know.
Yes.
it's like where you pick a perfume that you haven't ever smelled before, but you only wear it on your wedding day for the first time. And then when you like smell it again, which I didn't know this, but your scent most, or your sense most commonly linked to memory is scent. Your sense most, yeah, I'm saying that right.
I didn't know that, which makes sense.
Me either. So that's why the perfume thing is so cool. So when you wear it again, you think about your wedding day. I like the taste thing too. The coffee grounds are pretty cool.
Do it. It's
okay,
really cool.
I'm stealing
it's so
it.
Cool because you can choose whatever coffee you want. If it's super important to you to taste a certain way, it's really fun. But anyway, now we're going back to the things that are worth
I know.
But yeah, anything else that maybe it's not worth it or it's a waste of money.
Yeah, well, something that I've thought about, and this is something I just kind of recently decided that wasn't as big a deal as maybe people think it is when you send out invitations, which already invitations are pretty expensive. You don't necessarily have to do a like return RSVP envelope in there, because a lot of times nowadays, most guests are just going to go to your wedding website and RSVP on that. So if you don't have a wedding website, I would say go ahead and get one. Me and my fiance literally just the other night finished our RSVP list so that guests can go on there and RSVP. Nice. And so that's going to make it really easy for guests. I would say if you do have a few guests that want to mail it in, like grandmas and grandpas and older folks, a lot of times they like are set in their ways in weddings even. And so they'll want to send something back. So I would say like pick and choose maybe a handful of people that would rather just send it in, but most people are going to be very, very like open to the idea of just going on your wedding website, clicking the names that are going to come to the wedding and then saying accept. So I would say you don't need to spend a whole amount of money on that. That's something that's not necessary, but if you like the classiness of it, then I'd say go for it.
Yes, that's good. I agree with that. We had online RSVP and it was so easy and saved a lot of postage.
Yeah. Yes, the postage is so expensive.
It's so expensive. I remember it used to be so cheap when I was younger, and it just kept getting more and more expensive. So
I don't know. Yes, I don't know what that means.
Yeah, I know. I know. I'm like, what's happening? Yeah.
Yeah.
Anything else?
I would say those are the two things that aren't necessarily necessary. Nothing, whenever I was like reading your question, nothing else was really coming to mind. This is like, I might make some people mad with this, not really, but this is something that I am really big on when it comes to what I think a wedding should have. I love like really nice venues, and I've worked with so many incredible venues, but with the last year that happened, we've kind of realized that you don't need a super ridiculously expensive venue to have a great wedding. As we've all learned, a lot of people decided last year, hey, I'm just going to have my mom, my dad, my mother-in-law, father-in-law, and we're going to get married in the woods and it's going to be beautiful. And that's where you want another really great photographer too. Yeah. But so elopements have become a huge thing, which makes us kind of think back to, okay, well, that means we don't need to spend as much money on a venue. But I would say that's more so like if you are looking into like a micro wedding or an elopement, which now because of the vaccine and all these great things happening, we're able to have bigger and bigger weddings. And there is where I would say, if you have the budget, please do a venue, because there's so many amazing venues that I love so much. But at the end of the day, it's your wedding. If you want a smaller wedding, I wouldn't say that you need to go all out on a venue.
What do you think about guest books?
Ooh, okay. So I have
That's another I feel like it's a controversial one.
I have lots of ideas for alternatives to a guest book. One thing I've seen a lot more of, okay, so I saw this on TikTok, and I need to get in touch with these people because it's the coolest thing I've ever heard of. Okay. But it's like you rent a phone, like an old phone, wired phone, the ones that like sit.
I've heard of it. I think I know. Keep going.
And you call a number. It's incredible. You call a number and you leave a voicemail.
Yes.
Saying like, congrats, you guys. Me and Aunt Shirley love you. You know, like it's so unique, and I want to do that.
And was it the one where they turn it into a vinyl?
Yeah. Oh,
so I wish I would have known that. I wish I would have known that before my wedding. I would have totally done that.
I honestly still might. Like, I think it's so unique. And even if you don't want to like pay for that, like getting a cell phone or of some sort and having people use their own phone, but give them a number to call and then sending the voicemail to like you or your fiance's number, and then just like having that to listen to, and maybe like hiring a company to make a little like record off of it. I don't know if they do that, but that would be awesome.
Yes, please do
Mhm.
it. Do it for the
Okay.
people who haven't been able to.
Yeah. I'm going to pioneer it right now.
Yes, do it.
Trademark.
Yes. Well, this was all just such great information. I'm so excited for people to hear it because
Me too.
it's gonna help so much with the wedding
Oh, I hope
process.
so.
Please hire Sarah as your coordinator. I'm sure
I love
she's
that.
right up on. Never seen her work, but I just know she's great. And if Rebecca and
You're
Juan
so
love
sweet.
her, then
Oh my
yes,
gosh.
she's great.
They're the best.
Yeah, they really are.
You know, me and Rebecca, Juan, and Adam are going to take me and Adam's engagement photos in Utah. Yeah, I know.
Stop. Are you going? Where are you going?
We're going to Arches National Park.
You're going to Moab?
Yeah, we're staying in Moab.
Oh my gosh. That's
know.
gonna be the most incredible pictures. I've been to Moab and the arches, I've
Really?
been to them and they're incredible.
Oh, I've never been, and neither has Adam. I'm so excited.
You're gonna love it. It's a hike. It's a hike, but
Yeah.
it's so worth it,
Worth
and you're
it.
gonna love it. And
You're
climbed
making me
rock
so
there.
excited.
I climbed a rock in Moab and it was the most
What?
fun thing ever.
Okay, yeah, we need a hiking day, that's for sure.
Yes. Oh, I'm
I'm
I
so
can't wait to
excited.
see that. I can't wait
Oh
to
yeah,
see the
I'll send
pictures.
you the link when we get them. the
Please.
photos.
Oh my god, I've been wanting to go back ever since I left.
Yeah.
It's so you're
I've
gonna
heard
love
that.
it.
Oh, that makes me so excited. I
Oh,
can't
those
wait.
engagement pictures are gonna be killer.
We like wanted something really unique, and Rebecca was the one who was like, "Oh, here's some ideas," and we're like, "Let's go to Moab. Let's do it. We got to go there."
Did she say that was that one of her recommendations?
Yeah, it was one of them. She gave us like kind of a list of places, because whenever I first met her, I was like, "Oh, you're definitely doing my wedding, of course." And she's like, "Oh my gosh, when we do engagement photos, like we have to go somewhere super fun and crazy." And so when it came time for that, we kind of just were talking about it and agreed that
Yay.
Moab would be awesome.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm so excited for you. I have one last question for you.
Yes.
Okay, everything is falling around me.
Oh my
okay.
gosh, you're good.
So this podcast is called Take a Little Coffee Break, and
Mhm.
I ask this with all my guests. And so, what is your go-to coffee order when you? Some people, this is what people have been doing. They've been doing their Starbucks one and their specialty like coffee shop
Mhm.
order, which for me, there's a big difference
Mhm.
in what I order. But if you don't like coffee, what is your favorite beverage, or what do you get at these coffee shops? Do you get tea? What's your go-to order?
Yeah. Well, I'm addicted to coffee, unfortunately. Very addicted. I drink it all the time. But I like how you specified Starbucks and then specialty. So if I was at Starbucks, I almost always get an Irish cream cold brew. They're my favorite.
Sarah, we are the same person. It's my favorite drink.
It's so good. It's like ice cream. That's what it reminds me of.
It really is, but it's
so
like
good.
not that sweet. I feel well,
Right.
I don't know, but it's I feel
Yeah.
like it's better for me.
No, same. That's why I get it. I'm like, I feel a little bit healthier drinking
Yeah.
this. Like a little bit.
Yes.
But that would be my like go-to Starbucks order.
Okay.
If I'm at a specialty shop, which I go to like 2 a day because I'm always meeting clients across the city. But it's always the same thing. It's a hot, sometimes cold, a hot oat milk, vanilla, and lavender latte. Mm-hmm.
Literally, Sarah, are we like related? Okay, I
think we're soul sisters.
I think we are. I'm a big fan of lavender lattes.
Oh yeah,
Big
I
fan.
love adding lavender into anything. Like even like the bread, like if you have any like banana bread or whatever, lavender, love that. Zucchini
I
bread.
made my own lavender syrup so that I can make coffee at home. And
Oh my gosh,
best
wait,
thing ever.
I need to do that. You got to send me the recipe.
I will. It's so easy. I will send it to you.
I will use it too.
Yes.
I love lavender.
I love it. And it's so funny
gosh.
because like I don't think I meet a lot of people who like lavender.
Mhm. Oh, I
So-
love it. I add it to everything. Mhm.
Ugh, that's great. Yes, vanilla, but I haven't tried it with vanilla yet. So that's
Ooh,
interesting.
I add both of them. That's my favorite.
Oh, and you have
Mhm.
it hot. with
Yeah,
oat
I
milk.
usually have it hot. I will buy it cold, but I like it hot better. I think it just looks cuter in the cup.
It does look cuter in the cup. I am an
Mhm.
iced coffee girl, but I love the latte art and like
Mhm.
and so sometimes I'm like, man, I wish I loved hot coffee more because that's what a sight.
It's so
to see
pretty.
that.
I know. It's so cool.
Well, thank you for doing this. This was
Yeah.
so much fun. I
I
like
had a
smiled the
blast.
whole time.
I know this has been very fun. I've
This is
enjoyed
great.
it.
Yes, I am going to plug you in the show notes and in the IGTV. So guys, book Sarah to be your wedding coordinator. She's so fun. So
Oh my
book
gosh, you're the
her
best.
and yeah, and she'll be able to give you all of the recommendations for all of the
I
vendors.
would love that.
So thank you for coming on. This was so much
Yes.
fun, and don't hang up after I say bye because
No, I figured.
I do have questions for you. But
Okay.
thank you. And is there any last comments that you want to say out to the world?
Oh my gosh. Like and subscribe, guys.
Yes.
Is that what you're
Thank
supposed
you.
to say? I don't know.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. Yes, thank you so much. I'm so excited for people to hear you out and get to know
Thank
you more
you.
and follow you. I'm so excited for this business that you've just
Thank
created.
you.
I definitely see it going places, and it's such a hopeful time, I think, right now
Thank
for
you.
the world
Yeah.
and for weddings. So I am definitely going to be praying over you
Mhm.
and your business.
Thank you so much.
I'm so excited for you.
Love
And
that.
yeah, thank you so much.
Thanks so much. Yeah.